a truly disturbing poll for democracy has come out that I want to take a look at here. Again, it's one of those moments where I say this is shocking, but not shocking. It's shocking, but not surprising, maybe is the way to say that. Because we know this is the direction that the country is going based on the actions of Donald Trump and those who have supported him. And this is just another example of it. But reading from Yahoo News, nearly 2 years after Donald Trump launched his relentless and baseless assault on the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election, a scheme that culminated in his supporters' January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, a new Yahoo News YouGov poll shows that less than half of Americans, 46%, now believe that candidates should commit in advance to accepting the results of this year's midterm elections. So what does that mean? Only 46% of the country believes that candidates ahead of the election should say, whichever way it goes, I'm going to accept the results. Now, when you hear that, and then we'll get to specifically Trump voters, but when you hear that, what is your conclusion? Wait, why is 46%? Because that's not just Trump voters saying that their candidate shouldn't concede. That is, or accept the results. That is a lot of Democrats too, and independents, right? And I think the reason is, for the most part, we had an understanding in the country that going into an election, all the candidates will accept the results, whichever way it goes. And that's what allowed our democracy to operate smoothly. But now that Trump did what he did, and you see all of these attempts that were taken to overturn the 2020 results, I think there's a lot of people on the left and Democrats who go, I can't say necessarily that the candidate should accept the results, because what if it's Trump again trying to overturn the results, right? If people within this movement are going around and trying to chisel away at our democracy, you understand now why people who previously believed more in our democratic process are going, wait, are they going to try to completely, based on their lies about our election processes, actually overturn results whenever it doesn't go their way? Well, then I can't necessarily say that I'm going to accept results, right? Super scary. And then to zero in specifically on Trump voters, among voters who cast their ballots for Trump in 2020, just a third say candidates should agree in advance to accept the results in this fall's elections. Only a third of Trump voters think that candidates should accept election results. This is what we're talking about. I've gotten asked before, why do you cover the threat to democracy or the actions of Trump in 2020 so often on your show? And it's so clear as to why. And the reason is because none of what I do, none of what any political commentator does matters if our democratic process falls apart. It doesn't matter, hey, you should know this so that you can vote more intelligently, or this, you should know this so you can participate in our democracy more, if we don't have one. And right now we're seeing the effects of the actions that Trump took going across, rippling across our country to people of all different walks of life, not just MAGA Republicans. People losing faith in our democracy because we saw an individual almost successfully, I don't know how almost, but attempted to overturn election results and have a lot of people believing that that was the right thing to do. And that's so scary. That is so threatening to our democracy. And that is why it's something I'm going to bring up all the time, nonstop, because people need to be aware of it. And I think it would be justified in this upcoming election to vote Democrats down ballot, even if you were the most conservative person in the country before Trump came into the political world. Genuinely. I genuinely believe there are real policy differences that matter, absolutely. But I think in this election, if you care about our democracy, it's justified, no matter how much you hate liberal policies, to vote Democrat down ballot. Because that right now is the party that is trying to uphold democracy in some sense. I don't think they're fighting aggressively to do so. I think they should have worked more aggressively and more effectively to actually take actions that would have prevented the next Trump from doing something worse. But they are attempting in some way to uphold it. And they do respect the democracy much more than the other side. And so I think people shouldn't generally vote on one issue. In this election, when the one issue is keeping the very democracy that you're voting within, yes, a one issue vote is absolutely justified. And I implore all people to do so in this upcoming midterms.